I'm Bob Doidge, and we are in Grant Avenue Studio in Hamilton, Ontario. In high school, I was very heavily involved in music, and before I knew it, I was hooked up with Dan Lanois, who I'm sure everybody knows about. And Dan and I were in bands together, and after high school, I ran off with one band, he ran off with another. And I fortunately was working with Ian Thomas when I was a teenager. And he was signed to RCA, so I had to go to Toronto and for the first time play bass in a real studio. And afterwards, I was so impressed with the first day there, I just said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And really what happened was Dan came home from living in Florida and sold his motorcycle, and we bought a couple of little Trainer mixers and a little tape recorder and set up some speakers and started recording in his bedroom. His brother was touring Europe, came home, kind of liked the idea, and remodeled the mom's basement into a studio. By the time it was, on its last days, we recorded the first Raffi record there, Singable Songs. It really happened in 1976 that it opened up here, and we didn't want to move to Toronto, and we just thought that this was a magical place musically, having lived our teen years, in every band we could get our hands on. So it basically started in '76 and just kept on growing. When I was 13, I was taking a life-saving course and ended up at the McMaster Gymnasium with the guy I was with, seeing a Gordon Lightfoot concert in the very early days. 3 songs into his first set, when I literally looked at the stage and all he had was John Stockfish on bass and the lead guitar, and I looked at the stage and I went, okay, I want to play bass guitar and I want to play it for him. So I made it my business to learn all of his songs. I made a bass guitar because my dad wouldn't let me buy one. He thought I was quit my trumpet. So I studied 2 years up in my bedroom Gordon Lightfoot songs, learning every nuance of his music. This went on for years and years. And I knew everybody in his band. I had worked with them on different projects. And all of a sudden, one day the drummer, Barry Keane, calls me up in '96 and says, Gord's looking for a new place, a new producer, and he'd like to come out and try working at your place, because I told him. So Gord came out. So after about 2 weeks of the demos, he was sitting on the couch here, and he said, look, I'd like to proceed on and start making the album right here, and I wondered if you'd help me produce it. And literally, after he left, 5 minutes later, I ran upstairs and started to call my mother to tell her about it. She had already died 8 years before that. I was so excited that I wanted to tell her first, because she was my big supporter from age 4 on. So I have to say Gordon Lightfoot, Gordon Lightfoot, Gordon Lightfoot on this issue, just because I had a 30-year wait between my original goal and him actually coming into the studio. I always say I am a patient man, and when you've got a goal that's big enough, that's worth waiting for, that one was worth waiting for. And we're still working all the time.
I got no time to rest, nothing I do best. I try so hard sometimes, I almost stand.